on. Spags, we're back. I had a really rough morning. I went full tilt. Can we get things back on track here today on Splash Play?
I mean, if there's any way to get things back on track, it's drafting a Superflex draft that's filling right before our eyes on Underdog. But we're going to talk about our findings from running some drafts of our own, then dive into one today. And I guess we'll talk about Deshaun Watson, even though Pete and I have no joy in that one, but we'll muster it up right after this intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Splash Play, the fantasy football podcast for every game under the sun. And once again, I'm Chris Spags, joined by your very brand representative friend and mine, Pete Overzet. Pete, how are you doing? Sun's out, guns out in that hot new Splash Play tank.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you noticed that. I ordered a couple new tanks the other day. One of them was the Splash Play. I have the Splash Play hat. I have a Splash Play hoodie, but I don't have any Splash Play summer wear. And I will say, like, it of all the tanks and the logos, it's one of my favorite like logo tank combinations. So yeah, those are in the store. But yeah, I think it's a nice tank.
Yeah, check the link in the description if you want to buy one of those and check it out. I think that is a very summer appropriate logo. We always did design Splash Play in mind to be really a summer show, which has been ironic given that we are actually spamming content harder in the summer than pretty much anybody else in the industry.
I know it's crazy how things have flipped. Like, I haven't decided what my programming is going to be like during the fall as far as DFS stuff, where it's like, and it's not saying that I don't want to do DFS content, but it's just that like the summer feels more like the foundation and more like the meat of the content calendar to me now than even the fall, which sounds crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, you can start doing 2023 best ball drafts in the fall.
Yeah.
Based on how they're filling up right now, honestly, Underdog might not be a bad idea to run a few out there.
I know, seriously. And also, I want to say, I had mentioned at the top of the show that I had a rough morning, and a lot of people who contributed to my rough morning here are back in the chat triggering me. David was the one who took 4 QBs after Josh Allen's start. We had FF Doom on Twitter who told me I'm a 4, but I always get the 101. So yeah, I thought I was going to move on from this morning stream, and now they're here haunting me.
Yeah, I only saw the thumbnail. I don't know what got you tilted, but I'm excited to learn more, and I hope you guys can bring that energy to the chat. Once again, we appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed, whether it be the Peach channel or the Splash Play channel. Of course, the Splash Play channel, the home of my exclusive Friday solo streams that Pete really just keep bringing the energy time and time again, only to get, honestly, embarrassed in these drafts. Like the Superflex drafts, doing that live on a stream, I could see how you'd get tilted doing that because Superflex is difficult, and when people know what you're trying to do on a stream, it is impossible.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how the Friday streams went. Did I see some clip of you dancing instead of drafting? Is that when you really just threw in the towel?
That was when I did a fake ad for a beer company because I enjoy the branding of it. I did, a little seductive dance because the people were demanding that I do seductive dance instead of doing a draft. And then I did one draft anyway, just for the fun of it. But yeah, it's tough, man. I do think it's one of these things where we do it on this show and it's fun. It's even if it's on my account, like for some reason, in the flow of our show, it works. When you're solo, it feels really naked to have to talk about your strategy and just to get scooped by people that are just, doing moves sometimes that aren't even plus EV. They're just doing it because like you said it. And that's something that I think I have to still get used to, Pete. I've not built that callus like you have.
Yeah, and it was the reason why I did I mentioned it on my stream earlier, but I did a private stream for VIP members on my channel and the Ship Chasing channel over the weekend for that exact same purpose, where it's like, I love the dynamic of drafting with everyone in the chat and all those elements and the piss boy rooms and all of that. But sometimes it would be nice to do a draft without all those dynamics and get to really kind of think and talk through strategy. So I did take the opportunity to do that on Saturday night. Coincidentally, loved my team when I wasn't battling, value hounds and correlation bros in the chat. So yeah, I think there's a time and place for everything, but here on Splash Play, we battle the chat.
So we will hop into Superflex a little bit here, and we will talk about some Superflex findings that we had for ourselves this weekend. But Pete, I feel like we got to talk about the Deshaun Watson update. Was really the lead story that you had in the Fantasy Life newsletter today. Is kind of the one that just really there's nothing else going on news-wise right now, guys. Not even any interesting athletic reports to read some tea leaves on. So this is what it is. But Deshaun Watson, I think the report was that the NFL is looking perhaps for an indefinite suspension. That would be at least 1 season. There were also reports going around, Pete, that they were talking about maybe a workable suspension, whatever that meant, according to the Players Association plus Watson's legal team. At this point, it really, I think I've come fully on board. It feels like you probably shouldn't be drafting them at all if you are doing best ball.
Yeah, I just like it's hard to see the upside case for it now. You're just basically having to get so many things right. First, avoid a season-long suspension. I mean, I think it's safe to say he's going to get suspended. It's just how long. And I mean, even if you're looking at a 12-game suspension, trust me, I know I'm prioritizing, late season stuff, but there ends up just being, I think, a pretty big opportunity cost there. And I mean, like, are you telling me, like, even at this point, Deshaun Watson has more upside than like a Daniel Jones, who's going like super late in drafts anyway? So yeah, I have a hard time seeing it. I get it more for other skill positions, but I think with quarterback especially, I just don't know how much above the average expectation or average scoring that he's going to be able to give you to make it worth that click.
It's weird. The futures odds don't seem like they've moved enough. Like I'm looking at some AFC odds to win the AFC would be the way to do that. And it looks like they're still at plus 2,400, plus 2,500. So right in the middle of the pack. And we tend to like the Vegas odds general just to give us a read on what the market's doing. Of course, where the money's moving is going to be the most powerful thing you can do for yourself when you are trying to put together a case for why you want to be with a team or be against them. And it just still feels like there isn't anything concrete enough. And I feel like that's like the most annoying part of this. Like you just want to see the suspension doled out. You want to see him apologize or whatever the case may be. But now the Texans are getting sued too. And it just feels like it's just not going to end.
Yeah, I know it does feel like it. I mean, Nick asking the question, where would you draft Jacoby if Watson is gone all year? I mean, to me, Jacoby would still be, a 17th or 18th round selection. He would still feel to me like clicking, Mitch Trubisky. I think you would do it in scenarios where it's like, okay, you get Amari Cooper at an extreme value, and then you get one of David Bell or Njoku at an extreme value, and you need that QB3 in the build. I don't know, but yeah, I can't. Spags and I have talked about it with the Ritter versus Mariota stuff that, like, in general with these quarterbacks, I don't want to be betting against momentum, or it's like it feels like you're trying to hold on to Jacoby holding on to the job for the full year versus who knows what other kind of machinations could happen as far as the team trading for someone around the deadline or whatever, where it's like, I just don't think with some of these incumbents like Trubisky, like Brissett in this situation, I feel like they're kind of holding on to that role as opposed to the place the team ultimately wants to get at the end of the season.
And one thing they don't want to get to is Baker Mayfield. It seems as well that they apparently reports that they don't want to reconcile with him no matter what the situation. So I didn't realize, Pete, the only other quarterback on the Browns organization besides Baker and Jacoby Brissett is Josh Dobbs, the former Pittsburgh Steelers backup. So maybe you could take in Superflex. Josh Dobbs, now eminently draftable.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, at least, Josh Dobbs, he runs a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think he's pretty nimble from the 5 plays that I've seen that have had any relevance at all out there. But Pete, any findings for you with the Superflex drafts overall the weekend? And the one thing for me, and I think it's going to stabilize now that the ADPs seem to have stabilized in the Superflex Puppy with it being 67% fill, I think is what I was seeing. So not worth jamming entries at this point if you're trying to max it out, because that seems like a statistical improbability, Pete. But also it does feel like the rooms have been very variable to me. And that was like the key theme I was trying to impart on Friday when talking about it some more. I know we kind of talked about it similarly on the Thursday strategy show that we did talking about the Superflex drafts overall. But like the rooms are insane, where there was one that drafted like a normal Best Ball Mania room with QBs going in the 5th and 6th round. I took Josh Allen at the 101, and it was like holding your dick at the bathroom, just looking for a place to pee. And that was how vulnerable I felt, Pete, in that spot. But it feels like Superflex, I don't know. Like, I don't get why people are going crazy about it. That's the first thing I have to say.
I mean, what I think my biggest takeaway after doing a handful of these, and I am in a couple of the slow drafts ongoing as well, is just, and we mentioned it last week, that early draft slot is so huge. Just because the people at the back end of round 1 are still needing to select quarterbacks, but there is a huge tier gap, between the like Kirk Cousins of the world and the Kyler Murrays. And so I've noticed I absolutely love my teams when I have, a top 5 pick, and I really haven't liked them as much otherwise. And this kind of happens. This is a dynamic that happens in regular leagues too. And Sean Siegel's talked about this a lot too, of why zero RB can not only be such a dominant strategy, but almost necessary, because if you are chasing the kind of fake bell cows at the end of the round 1 and early round 2, say like your Joe Mixon types, not only are you getting a watered down version of the players who are going early, the Jonathan Taylors and Christian McCaffrey, but then you're pushing down elite wide receivers to those early drafters too. So it's like a compounding error where they're getting the elite running back production, you're getting watered down version, and you're just gifting them that. And so I feel like the same thing is happening here a little bit, where they're getting watered down versions of the quarterback. And because they're having to chase that quarterback position, then they're pushing down better skill players to you. And like, I'll pull up like one of my slow drafts here that I'm in right now that I love how it broke for me. Like I started with, Kyler Murray and ended up being able to kind of accomplish all my other goals. And, I did get Derek Carr coming back as my second pick, but I get my anchor running back, DeAndre Swift, get your anchor tight end in Pitts, and then two, high upside wide receivers, a stack in the case of Marquise Brown. Like the drafts just seemed to come easy to me from those early slots.
Yeah, I only had like one team I felt good about, which I was actually the last Superflex draft that I did, I think maybe yesterday or the day before. I got Joe Burrow with a Chase Higgins stack, brought it back with Gabe Davis, got Josh Jacobs as my anchor running back. But then at QB, it just falls off of a cliff where I was going to try to get Mariota. He went crazy early, like 30 spots ahead of ADP. So I ended up having to take Ritter with Trevor Lawrence. And I feel like that's sort of I think it makes that any sort of structural drafting you're doing at Superflex probably very important, especially, the stacking correlations that we beat the drum of a lot on here. But I feel like if you have any sort of structure to your team, just because of how wildly people are drafting all over the place, you're probably in a good spot just because I think people are just grasping at straws, especially with like this filled so fast that I don't think people could really wrap their heads around it.
It is so funny too, because you notice a lot of sentiment in the chat, and I've noticed it in the Discord too, where people are like, they're so hungry for puppy drafts. But it doesn't seem like people love Superflex in general. But then you're seeing the fill rate for this contest, and it's like, wait, are people all just like, well, this is what we have, so we're just going to do it no matter what, and it doesn't matter what Underdog puts out there? But I have noticed a discrepancy between general Superflex sentiment and how quickly this tournament is filling.
Do you think part of it is that, and I know we've talked about this with best ball overall compared to DFS or sports betting or whatever, certainly season-long redraft kind of leagues. Do you think it's just that people are like, I got to jam this in because nobody knows what they're doing for Superflex, and this is my best shot to win 50K in best balls because everybody's kind of grasping at straws?
My thing is, I think everyone is such sick degenerates that have now, like, I've noticed this with my own patterns, right? Where I've started to, draft teams at night right before I go to bed. One, because you get some crazy drunk BBM3 rooms at that time, but also because it's now just like, it's my little treat before I go to bed, my little ice cream cone before I tuck into my bed. And so what happens is then the puppy goes away, and we all have these now habits we've built around drafting. So they put a Superflex puppy up for $5, and it's like, well, this is what I do with my time now. So I do think there's like this reflexive thing. You even see Eagles here first calling us weak for not maxing it, and then saying I hate Superflex, to be honest, but he's still gonna max it because we just Underdog has trained us. There's a reason it's Underdog, because we now all have Pavlovian responses to these $5 tournaments to fill them.
Yeah, honestly, is impressive what they've been able to do with us, just roping us in to hold our money for 6 months. It's really Underdog's biggest feat. The greatest trick that Underdog ever pulled is the puppy itself.
It really is. And yeah, no, I have a feeling we're gonna get plenty more puppies this summer, and I assume they will. Maybe next one, maybe we'll get. It would be fun to get a really big puppy, and then have it stay open for like 3 weeks or something instead of one of these quick sprints.
Yeah, the play action equivalent of the puppy for that DraftKings format. Look, we'll see what happens, but Superflex, if you want to get a taste of it, probably good to get your entries in now because the Eagles of the world, James, of course, filling that one, but a lot of people filling that one. It's probably going to be 70% by the time today ends. But Pete, time for us to jump in. We can get at least one more puppy draft in, and hopefully the room is kind to us because I don't want to spam quarterbacks for the first 3 rounds if we can, and I feel like that's probably going to be up to everybody out there who's joining this room right now.
Yeah. When in doubt, I mean, David, who was in the chat earlier, was treating my BBM3 draft room this morning like it was a Superflex draft room. I don't know if he got confused. Let me just say, David did get into this draft. Watch out for this dude from the 1-5. David is my nemesis today. And thank God, Spags, you saw I got the 101 again this morning. Thank God the 112. I mean, the people are starting to get the pitchforks out for me.
It does feel like we'll get a little flexibility. And I've said too, like, when I was doing the stream on Friday as well, like I kind of like getting into the 5-6 hole because then you could at least get a read on how rational or irrational the room is going to treat quarterbacks to start. And I think that's something that's helpful to me. And did you know who David was before he became your arch nemesis, by the way? Is this
no,
like
I did. Day? I didn't even see him in the chat. Then I noticed he has a Lulz avatar too. So I was hoping David was a rando and not a supporter of one of my shows here. So I have to somewhat take it easy on him. But David, what the fuck happened with that draft this morning, my dude?
Maybe he's modifying Brick software just to upset you. He's using Sport HUD software to antagonize Pete entirely.
Seriously. Yeah, the 112. Well, this is where, I mean, Spags, I was just saying how I don't like these late slots for Superflex. So this is going to be a unique spot to navigate it. Maybe we set up with a little zero QB build and just get really stubborn with it and refuse to give in to the big Superflex industrial complex.
I mean, look at these ADPs. What would be, so this is another thing I was trying to think of, Pete, where you coined piss boys, at least as far as I know, as far where I sit, you coined piss boys. You came up with that. What would be a purple room? What's that entail? What's the branding for it?
Is that the eggplant? The eggplant emoji?
Yeah, the eggplant emoji is pretty good. You're keeping it phallic based, so that's logical.
And we could call them eggheads, right? Because you got a little double meaning there. The eggheads, the eggplant heads.
Yeah, purple's flying off the board, so that's gonna be good. I was thinking like a Grimace from McDonald's kind of thing, but then that was a bit of a stretch. I don't even know what Grimace is. I think he's supposed to be a milkshake, technically.
Grimace? Oh, the McDonald's guy? Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a purple ambiguous blob, but he was initially, I think, designed as a milkshake.
Well, and this is where, our color coding across sites, because we always have, our friend Crack Rock over with our high stakes drafts on FFPC. He loves tight ends and he calls it the tight ends over there are purple. So it was always like, we got to crank purple. But in here, cranking purple would mean the quarterbacks here. I almost blocked you. I was so close to blocking you.
It's too good of an impression of a spam bot.
I know. Every time I'm like ready to go, and they're like, all right, you threw QBs cheap in there. Okay. All right. So what do you want to do? We're definitely taking Jamar Chase.
Okay. That works for me.
Who else do you want to take?
I mean, I don't mind Russ. I feel like we can get the Denver stack decently.
You want to do Russ and Chase?
Yeah, that works. Would
you do something differently?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you could talk me into maybe taking 2 QBs just because we would then have a pretty good couple QBs. But I think Chase, I still like Chase. The best teams I have everywhere, pretty much I like Chase. So, yeah.
Easy. I just want to explain or show 2 of your chats in back to back. Whatever you do, don't go Lance Carr. Let me keep that unique. 2 minutes later, advocating for Lance Carr and then saying boo when we didn't do it. So did you want us to duplicate your start or did you want us to avoid it? Make up your mind.
What is this reply that I'm getting on Pete on Twitter from emo_cowboy? I think you're tagged in this tweet as well. It's like a weird 3D blend of our faces.
I did see him saying he was in the chat saying he was doing Snapchat filters of our face. This is horrifying.
This is very trippy. It looks like we're some sort of devil monster.
What is going on here?
I mean, this feels like more your expertise. That feels like an NFT that would have sold for $1 million about a year ago.
Yes, seriously, put it on the blockchain and I will give you all the ETH for this. It's honestly disturbing.
I saw it. I just saw my mentions go off and I got to check my mentions the second I see it just because you never know when it's something bad. And it was in fact vaguely horrifying. I'm like, am I high right now? What is happening here?
Wow, man, trippy shit. Trippy shit.
Oh, he's sending us more filters too with beards and Tyler's having a time. The emo_cowboy. If you want to play along with somebody who's blowing my mind live on the show.
I thought the only person on Snapchat anymore was Jack Settleman. What is going on here? Let me see this other one. I mean, hang on. Sorry, I haven't pulled it up yet. Here we go. What is?
I mean, you look great there. That's you as Forrest Gump running across the country, I believe.
Yeah, I do love how ambitious that is. To one thing, I could grow a beard, much less grow one that had a nice dark color to it and wouldn't just be peach fuzz. Spags, this actually looks like you heading to Fishtown in Philadelphia for some paps.
Honestly, looks like a character you would have me do on the show.
I mean, this one's just lazy. That's just stupid. The sheriff.
That's somebody's fantasies for sure.
Yeah. All right,
also,
Tyler, relax.
Jewish sheriff in that one? Had a Star of David kind of badge on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Thanks for that one. But yeah, Jack, I mean, Jack's evangelizing. I get a lot of Jack Settleman posts on LinkedIn now. And he's really evangelizing a variety of things, and including the importance of Snapchat to the content community and revenue communities overall.
Yeah, Jack actually had a really good bit on. He went to the NFL draft, and he's fairly tall. He's like 6'2", and he wore a suit, and he was trying to convince reporters that he was one of the players. And there was one lady from ESPN who fell for it for about 3 seconds and then got really upset. It was pretty good.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's a slippery slope of getting in trouble, though. Yeah, if you get kicked out of one of those events, like my former boss at Barstool, Dave, you sometimes get brought up in legal hearings with Roger Goodell years later. So that's a bit that keeps on living, keeps on giving.
Yeah, I mean, they love to talk about. I mean, that's like one of their favorite talking points, right? It's like Barstool's not allowed to the Super Bowl media parties or something, and you can wear that as a badge of honor. The bad boys of Super Bowl media content.
They won't even let us have fun at the Super Bowl.
That's
who we are. They don't even want us at a party.
Yeah. It is pretty funny to just imagine like Roger Goodell's goons just like chasing Portnoy around like some little. Oh, all right. We're about to be up here again.
Oh God, are we gonna have to take? I feel like we got to take one of Lawrence or Fields or somebody, unless you want to go anchor QB.
Anchor QB. I mean, I was saying to see if we could push this a bit. I mean, the gap here. Let's see what the moose is on the loose. You never know what this guy is going to do. I mean, I do really appreciate Justin Fields here. And of course, the second the words come out my mouth, yeah, no shit, 0x. That's what I was just basically describing. I say we punt it. I say we punt QB at this point, or QB2 for a little bit.
Okay. Where would you go then?
I mean,
you don't like CD and you don't like Evans.
I would probably do CD and Saquon here. What do you think?
Okay, CD works. Let's do him first. No elite tight end. No interest in Kyle Pitts here.
You love Kyle Pitts. I don't really like taking Pitts ahead of Saquon. And
okay,
I do think
Saquon.
This format is more running back heavy than the traditional 18 round, just with the way the scoring positions are set up. And the fact that you're starting, in BBM3, right? We can get up to 4 wide receivers in our lineup any week and only 3 running backs. And here the field has been leveled as far as same amount of running backs and wide receivers in our flex. So
are you seeing? First of all, Bullock, I think, needs a bonking. But did y'all see those naked Saquon pics? He is a snap. What naked Saquon? What?
You didn't see these? You didn't. I didn't get the clickbait on you in the newsletter today.
Oh no, I didn't see that one. I just read the Deshaun Watson part.
Here we go. This is our pick.
Okay.
This is our selection right here.
All right, bonk.
Bonk. Bonk, bonk.
Is there a point though where he's almost in too good of a shape? Like,
well, that was like, did you see the photos of Shannon Sharp?
No.
Where did our background go? Jesus. Let me pull up this Shannon Sharp photo. Talk about a dude in the best shape of his life. Here we go.
That's what show is Skip Bayless, right? I feel like they must just be, hammering the gym hard together just to.
Look at this. Look at this. Shannon Sharp, 54 years old. I mean, you want to talk about.
He looks as good as when he played. Like even like in the youthfully, like he looks great.
Yeah. D Gold says he's been gone for a few months, but this is the content I came back for. Yes, us objectifying NFL athletes.
There was a bit in my high school fantasy league, which no longer exists, I don't think, for this reason. But I would search for various players in the news, like shirtless, just because it became a bit. So it'd be like Michael Turner, shirtless.
This is a bit, yeah, I'm sure, Spags.
This is a classic erotic bit that
yeah.
you do. But I thought it was a funny bit. And it's funny, like, I do think it would be much easier to do that now, where it's like it was very hard to find a photo of Michael Turner shirtless in this era.
Our grandparents talked about what it was like fighting in the war, and yet here Spags is talking about how hard it was to find a shirtless photo of Michael Turner. If you're wondering what's happened to our generation.
Do you remember when you had like a 56K modem and then you would load like pixel by pixel? That was an experience. Bullock has no clue.
No, Bullock grew up with a smartphone in his hand. He came out of the womb playing Candy Crush.
That's why he's so smart.
Let's see here. Josh says a little late, just got finished getting yelled at by Pete in the breakfast stream. What did I yell at you for, Josh? I forget. It's hard to remember. I yelled at a lot of people.
We like Josh around here. I won't tolerate that. That David character, you can yell at him all you want. He's done nothing to engender goodwill for me.
Yeah. Yeah, then he tried to clarify. He said his old username was Dangerous Dong. I'm sorry, that didn't ring a bell for me, David.
Dangerous
That's
dog.
actually what Spags had labeled for his desktop folder of shirtless NFL players, Dangerous Dogs.
The forbidden dog is the most dangerous dog.
Let's just, I mean. Oh, my bad. It was Gorgeous Dong, not Dangerous Dog. Whatever, Gorgeous Dog.
Yeah, because so that was actually, that joke came up on Friday on my solo stream, because like people in the NBA DFS community used to love when Georgie Dang would play in a game, because then they'd be like, oh, it's Gorgeous Dong night, because his name kind of sounds like Gorgeous Dong. It's probably really insensitive culturally.
Gorgeous Dong says he made a Chrome extension for me. I almost feel violated saying that. Gorgeous Dong made a Chrome extension for me. What was the Chrome extension you make? I really apologize. Clearly, it was a very forgettable Chrome extension.
It would just put gorgeous dongs on pictures of things. We're on the clock.
Shit.
Oh, Zach Wilson. I gotta say Cortland Sutton, right?
Yeah, good call on the stack. Do you want to do? I would say. I mean, I'm fine with Zach Wilson or Mac Jones or we can continue to punt it. What do you think?
I think it'll be easier to get New England guys late, just because we'll have a lot of flexibility there. And we can also get one of the Miami running backs to bring it back with.
Yeah, you want to go Mac?
Yeah, I think let's go Mac.
All right. There we go. So the team so far, Russell Wilson, and we did an anchor QB build. Russell Wilson, then Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Sutton, got that stack, and then grabbed Mac Jones there. I'm cool with this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Zach Wilson we could have taken. It would just be harder, I think, to get Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson and then Seattle. I have enough Jets Seattle, I think, overall. Where I'm okay taking Mac Jones here.
Yeah.
Now back to dangerous dongs.
Boots on the ground. Mac has been impressing with his leadership. Good pick there. Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, Mac, I think if out of all the quarterbacks that we could take in the draft, Mac seems like he has the least dangerous dong out of all of them. Like that dong is, that's a safe dong. That's the kind of dong you could have at a Fisher Price set.
So, David, let me ask you a question. He says he made a Chrome extension that downloaded a CSV of the DK lobby contest info so you could sort your lineups based on number of interests. This sounds incredibly helpful. I do vaguely remember this now. It sounds like something only a smart, big-brained person could do. So it begs the question, why the fuck did you draft 4 quarterbacks this morning?
Getting unique.
Yeah. What if those 4 are the guys you need week 17?
That's true. I mean, maybe there's some RotoViz roster construction explorer that's like 4 QBs in this particular round. That's when it really pays off.
Well, and I think it will now can have its own strategy name, right? We have zero RB, we have elite tight end, and then we of course have the gorgeous dong strategy, which is for late quarterbacks. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm fired up today.
Yeah, GA saying you dared to draft him. If you antagonized him on the stream and then he did it, I feel like then that's on you.
I did dare to draft him because he had drafted Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford, and then Tua was falling, and I had Tyreek Hill, and so I was like, "There's no fucking chance this guy takes Tua." So I did dare him. Now that could excuse the 3rd quarterback pick, but I did not dare him. I did not say anything. I was actually hoping Daniel Jones fell to me. He took Jameis Winston as his 4th quarterback. The clarity with which I can picture this in my head, it's just. It's emblazoned across my mind because I was so tilted, but you cannot excuse the Jameis Winston pick. I did not say anything. He did that on his own volition.
Maybe he just wants to support a guy that, we all know is finally coming full circle. He's finally been reverse milkshake ducked back into our hearts. Jameis Winston.
That's right. I just need to chill out. I'm so blessed. I'm too blessed to be stressed. I get paid to draft Superflex teams on camera. Just relax, Pete. Just relax.
Sometimes get paid. I'm worth it for just the joke for just me and Pete.
I thought about it. I thought about censoring my joke, and I was like, nah, Spags will probably let this go.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, Tommy in the chat earlier said I was looking good today, which I think is hilarious because I feel like I've been under a social experiment of waking up every hour overnight dealing with the babies. I feel like I'm being tested every day, but you got to take the compliments where you can get them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think of this show like a moisturizer, Spags. The second you hop in here, you just start to look more full of color and full of life.
Get that glow going.
Yeah. Bullock wants a best ball rage monster. I will happily oblige if you guys keep acting like fucking dickheads all the time.
I would take Dalton Schultz here, but it makes no sense given that we don't.
No, it does.
Okay,
it makes sense.
We don't have Dak. I'd take taking two guys without the QB.
I don't. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. Who do you want to take as our other guy?
I'm thinking, Mooney would have been nice with Hawkinson now that I'm thinking about it, but I honestly don't have a preference here. You could take any of the guys on the screen and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm still fine with Mooney.
Okay. I think you could have made a case for me, and I know you wouldn't do this, but like to just take Hawkinson too, so we get a really good tight end meld because we can get an elite tight end.
Why the fuck is Mr. Red Badge Bro here taking Juju Smith-Schuster over Darnell Mooney after drafting Justin Fields at pick 35? He had 2 Chicago Bear value hound opportunities, and he just took his red badge and shoved it up his own ass.
That's, experience doesn't always mean skill, Pete. I think that's something to keep in mind.
Clearly.
I do like the idea of you being a radicalized, like toxic member of the best ball community because we've talked so many times about how welcoming and kind it is. You just flame everybody so they don't want to play anymore.
I'm just going to embrace it. So many people got triggered by the week 17 stuff. Osimo had an article out where he was making a case for week 16 being similarly important. And I'm excited to talk to him about that tomorrow on Lulz. But like the people who were so triggered by week 17 were like, yes, week 16 matters too. You were wrong. Like they were so over the moon. It's like, does this really change anything for you? Because now we're just going to be talking about week 16 and week 17 matchups. Does that really change the conversation for you?
So Osimo, his byline on Stochastic, I just feel like that's like a weird paradoxical loop that's being opened up if he's writing on there.
What is it? What does it say?
Well, I assume he's just Alex Osimo Baker, but now in Stochastic. I mean, yeah.
I heard he's making everyone at Osimo call him Mr. Stoke now.
Big
Mr. Stoke to you.
That actually would be a funny approach. Just like, no, I'm doing a full rebrand. And I demand to be called Big Stoke.
Spags, what's the stream theory here? You call someone out and they come out of the woodwork. Have you ever seen Robert Meadows in the chat before?
I have not.
I'm telling you, it's a law. If we are in a draft, every single one of these people right now are watching. Let me try this. TNT 1966, reveal yourself in the chat now.
See, but they won't do it when we ask. It has to be like they've been wronged in some way or they did something that upset us, and then that's when they come out. But I like his name. Like he's going by Moose. Where do mooses go, Pete? Meadows. So it all makes sense.
You think that's why he named himself the Moose?
He's like, oh, where does a moose live? In a meadow. Done.
Do you think he was like debating between dandelions or the moose when he was picking his name?
He was either like a Rocky and Bullwinkle reference that he couldn't quite get to.
Look at you. He thought he could gamble. And I mean, what gamble are you making there, Moose? I'm so tilted. Not that like I really wanted Juju that bad. AJ, I hear you. I see you. I see you speaking your truth. Multiple comments about Iowa not having best ball. I will come there. Today would not be a good day to drop me on the steps of the Iowa Congress and have me storming the Capitol. Let AJ play best ball. I'm the best ball monster.
The states have gone too far. They have autonomy over our best ball injuries.
Oh my goodness. All right, Tyler, relax. Snapchat, you've had too many snap filters today to say the Moose is what he calls his dangerous dog. I mean, this stream is just so off the road.
think the only thing that could get us back on track is shirtless Michael Turner now.
I mean, how hard could it be to find a shirtless Michael Turner photo?
I mean, he probably doesn't like showing off that body these days. I don't think he was going to age gracefully.
After these, you know what? I saw Top Gun, the new one, yesterday in the theater, and I was noticing, they do their version of the shirtless volleyball scene. This time it's playing football on the beach. But I noticed that Tom had them shoot it in a way where you didn't have like too many lingering full body shirtless shots of him. Like he had a couple that were just chest up and the other ones were really quick cutaways. And I was like, I know Cruz was like, you're not showing me a long lingering shot on my torso. But he's like, just get the pecs in there. I have been working on those.
Well, that's like Taylor Lautner at one point when he was becoming a big thing from his Twilight days. Like he did his workout and he's like, I do the Hollywood workout where it's just like the lats and like the shoulders and like that's it. That's like I respect that. Out of all the things to respect Taylor Lautner for, that's top 5.
All right, we are about to be on the clock here after the Moose tries to play fast and loose with who's going to come back to him here. Do you know what I noticed today with when I was doing BBM3? I have 0% Clyde Edwards-Helaire in BBM3 specifically. I ended up taking him a few times in puppies, evidently, but 0% in BBM3. Who do you want to take here?
I mean, it makes sense to take him if you don't have any and we have the Denver stack.
Yeah, that was my only thought there. And then how are you feeling about QB3? Would you want to take Pickett or kind of kick it down and really try to get Galbrain with our third QB?
I think let's take Pickett just so we can get somebody, unless you want to take Deshaun Watson.
I do not want to. I give me baby hands, Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, because we can get a Freiermuth probably. You could still get Claypool at some point. I feel like I like trying to get the QBs that you can get parts of that stack later on, just because it is a lot of chaos in between.
Caro saying I have 0% David Montgomery. That one, though, makes complete sense to me. I'm not bewildered by that. I thought CEH would have fallen in a range kind of as one of my first 0 RB picks, when I'm normally taking, a Miles Sanders and Eli Mitchell. I would have thought I would have had some. David Montgomery, it's like I have no problem fading David Montgomery where he goes. It's generally in like the Bateman range, the last of the really intriguing wide receivers. It's also where that entire tier of elite quarterbacks is. It's also where you can grab, Schultz if you missed out on elite tight end. It's just like, it's really hard for me to click Montgomery at his spot.
Let's see. Kevin saying Pickett FUD is real. I mean, I don't know, Pete. Like, I feel like Pickett's just relative to Superflex draft. Like, yeah, probably not taking him in the 10th round of a BBM, but at this point, like, yeah, I think he's a logical pick, and especially for drafting for weeks 15 through 17, like you've talked about.
Right. I think everyone gets caught up in it. I mean, it was the same thing. Remember the Justin Herbert, Tyrod Taylor was going to start. The team wants Kenny Pickett to be their quarterback. I think we'll see him by the end of the year. And it's almost like a free roll for us, right? Like if he plays out of the gate, well, great. But as our QB3 here, we're just looking for him to baby hands Kenny Pickett supercharge our team down the stretch.
Yeah, and he's in a great situation for himself that I think, Mitch Trubisky, we kind of know what that ceiling is, probably what it was when he was the Bears QB and had his best year, which is just like a middle of the pack guy. No, according to Football Outsiders DVOA, I think he was 17th in DVOA's only good Bears year. So like taking a stab at Pickett and hoping that, that we just don't get killed by Russell Wilson and Mac Jones early on seems like a decent bet.
Yeah, and I would say, I feel like Russ and Mac Jones specifically as our QB2 is, I think, a pretty high floor selection as well. I feel like we kind of know what we're going to get from Mac Jones. So yeah, I don't mind the Pickett. The only other argument would have been to wait and then select Ritter. Because I do think if you priced, the amount of games Ritter plays and the amount of games Pickett plays, I don't think it would be that far off from kind of their true odds. Although, the evaluators think Ritter sucks, whereas most people think Pickett can be solid. So I guess that's the only consideration there.
Yeah, Pickett's an accuracy QB who should be in a spot where they're not going to make him take any crazy throws, as we saw Ben refuse to take anything resembling a crazy throw last year, I guess besides his normal turnovers. So I think in this spot for Pickett, like I'm willing to take the bet on Pickett, I think, more than I would most rookies. Like I like Malik Willis a lot, but I just don't see how Malik Willis plays this year. Like I think he's a real flimsy guy to take even in Superflex.
Yeah, I still don't mind him as a QB3 or QB4. I do agree that the most unlikely scenario, or the most likely scenario, is he doesn't play. But again, they drafted Malik to be their quarterback of the future. If the Titans have a rough year and they're not competitive, I think it's very likely that they could, want to see what they have in him and give him a few games down the stretch. And then also you have, of course, kind of the injury out as well if Tannehill were to get injured. So I think it's definitely a thinner bet than Pickett and Ritter, who I think will kind of see starts under most scenarios. But I mean, Malik Willis is kind of one of those fun, QB3 kind of bets you make, just knowing, one, he's probably going to be a unique selection in most drafts, and you feel pretty confident about the upside if he were to get start. So probably an pretty good asymmetric bet.
Claypool goes. I'm surprised Claypool went already.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. Has Garrett Wilson? I guess Wilson and Claypool have been going pretty close together in BBM3 too.
Yeah, I think Wilson a little bit ahead. The Claypool had that period though where I feel like when Silva first talked about Claypool, like there was a week that Claypool was going in the high 80s, and then I think people forgot. And then they moved him back to where he was supposed to be.
Yeah. We also could grab Freiermuth here too, and probably be done at tight end and get that stack as well as an option for us.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And then hopefully we can get Pickens at some point. And
then, I mean, I was going to take Wilson there. So let's do Freiermuth for sure. I mean, we could stack up Tim Patrick here, or we could like try to wait on a Hamler.
I don't mind just taking Patrick here just because there's nothing else around here. I guess Tyler Boyd, but we don't have any bets on Buffalo.
I'm gonna slide Patrick up here first just to talk through another scenario too, where obviously if we take Freiermuth, we're done at tight end. Like if we did want to sit on Albert O as well, we could, grab Tyler Boyd and then know we have a couple other tight end options, or we could just take Freiermuth, knowing like you're kind of looking at a 2v2 of like Freiermuth and Pickens versus like Boyd and Akui Boonham kind of thing.
I would go Freiermuth just because, like, I don't see how I don't know what we're gonna get from Buffalo. We could, I guess, get one of the running backs maybe. They might be gone too. Like, who would we get from Buffalo at this point? It'd be like McKenzie or maybe Crowder.
Is Crowder gone? Yeah, no, Crowder or McKenzie.
Yeah, I think I like the way that we went that.
Yeah, so our team here, Russell Wilson, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, 2 running backs, Saquon and CEH, doing pretty well at wide receiver, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Sutton, Mooney, and Patrick, and then good at tight end as well, Schultz and Freiermuth. So we're pretty much running backs and wide receivers the rest of the way, unless we do end up falling in love with a good QB4 price.
Yeah, I can't imagine wanting to take another QB. I feel like we got a QB in each kind of range. Like we got our dice throw guy, who I think is less of a dice throw than some people might think Pickett is. We got Mac Jones for the floor, like you talked about. I guess the floor, other than when he throws 5 passes in a game, the floor is tough there. But Russell Wilson will be playing for us every week. You got to imagine.
I would hope so in this scenario.
Yeah, in that division, I think with Russ, hopefully new offensive coordinator or new coach rather, who has gotten the best out of Aaron Rodgers. Like I feel like there's a lot that I feel good about with Russell Wilson being our anchor QB.
Lunchable saying, do you really think Claypool is going to do anything this year with a rookie QB and O-line? I can't trust it even with the value. I still haven't been able to click his name. I mean, I have a hard time seeing how Kenny Pickett could be any bit worse, or even Trubisky, than what Roethlisberger was bringing to the table last year. And I mean, all we're asking for is some shots down the field, and Roethlisberger just did not have that in his repertoire at the end of last year. Just did not have the arm strength, and it's why we saw, Deontay Johnson getting 15 targets a game and Najee Harris getting 1 million checkdowns a game. So I still am a big believer in Claypool's talent and his explosive play ability, and I think at worst, it's a slight upgrade on his situation last year. And at best, Kenny Pickett's solid and, completely unlocks Chase Claypool.
Yeah, and I think, we talked a little bit about some of the, I'm not forgetting the receiver, Jordan Addison, the Pitt receiver who I watched a lot of tape of just because he's going to USC, transferring from Pitt. And like, Pickett was throwing him the ball where he needed it to be. And that's, obviously it's going to be NFL, it's going to be different defenses and all that. But I really gained a lot of faith in Kenny Pickett from that process. And I think with Claypool, like you look at Claypool's numbers, he really wasn't that bad last year. He just kind of ran bad with touchdowns. And that's including with what Pete's talking about, where Roethlisberger was clearly afraid to throw the deep ball. They weren't doing any really the same creative things even they were doing for Claypool's rookie year to get him the ball and get him some touchdowns. So there's a lot of room, I think, for him to grow. And I don't mind betting on just an offense with a lot of good weapons. Like Pickett's not Joe Burrow, but there's some Cincinnati parallels, I feel like, with the Steelers receivers.
Yeah, no, I do. And again, it's, this, you think too, just about how much like macro narratives can kind of sway people's sentiment. Like this is a quote unquote bad quarterback class. And you think about last year was a quote unquote good quarterback class. And people kind of pushed all those players up together. We saw Zach Wilson getting drafted, even Mac Jones getting drafted. Obviously Lance got extremely pushed up. Lawrence got pushed up because I don't know. I think there's something where it's like, oh, this is a good rookie class. I want shots at these. And now I would argue that the pendulum swung too far in the other direction where it's like, this is a bad quarterback class. We don't want anything to do with anyone from this quarterback class. I think we can still pick our spots. And Kenny Pickett, I don't know why Kenny Pickett couldn't deliver us a Mac Jones season and maybe even a little bit more than a Mac Jones rookie year type season, because they're just naturally going to be a little more pass heavy than the Patriots were. So I don't know. I don't think there's much risk at his current prices.
Yeah, Pickett was more of a deep ball thrower than Mac Jones was in college, where that was something that jumped out to me with some of the college numbers with Jones were like very low ADOT, like was not really putting the ball into coverage, had a lot of yards after the catch. That to me says a picture of a guy who's kind of throwing the ball into space rather than throwing the ball downfield. Pickett forced the ball downfield. Like he definitely has some attributes that you look for positive fantasy upside. So yeah, like I think the starting job is really the one question mark with Pickett, but I don't know how Trubisky, like they're either playing for something and Trubisky's holding on to mediocrity, or they're not good enough, and it's more likely they're not good enough. Just give Pickett some action.
Yeah. All right, let's check out our spot here. I definitely think this looks like a good range to get a running back. I also think Galladay would make sense for us if we just want to continue betting on the Giants. We could also stack up Mac Jones with a Devontae Parker. What stands out to you?
I like Devontae Parker more than the public, and we are taking 2 picks here, so I wouldn't mind putting him in for one of them. And then we can take whatever else falls there for the second part of that Mac Jones stack. I feel like a running back would look good to me here. Besides that, Darrell Henderson, like Carter, maybe a little more of a floor play.
Yeah, I don't know if we necessarily have to think about floor in this with Saquon and CH. I think I do prefer Henderson to Carter.
Okay, that's fair.
So let's do Henderson and Parker, and now we do at least we have a double stack with Russ. We have a single stack with Mac and a single stack with Pickett so far.
Yeah, I like that. Did Pickens already got drafted? Or is he going lower in this?
I doubt he got drafted yet. Nah. Yeah, he'll be down here. Yeah, Pickens is down here.
Huh. Yeah, Pickens and Alec Pierce. I mean, I guess they're in line with everybody else, but it feels like they're much lower in Superflex than Best Ball Mania, because people like scoop them so heavy on Best Ball Mania where like Pierce will go 20 spots out of ADP sometimes.
Yeah, and there was a report out there that I think Levitan tweeted it out today. Paris Campbell has been playing in the 2 wide receiver sets with Pittman, which, I mean, makes sense to me. I mean, Paris Campbell has been good. He's just been injured. And not that, that's a death knell for Alec Pierce. If he's not in 2 wide receiver sets, I assume they'll be running a bunch of wide receiver 3 wide receiver sets when they're passing. But I think there probably shouldn't be as big of a gap between Pierce and Paris Campbell's ADP right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like Pierce. Like, I think still at some point he's got to get some more burn, just given the draft capital and given the fact that he is like a legit burner, and they need that now that T.Y. Hilton's completely washed. But I think that Paris Campbell, just one of those bets that people don't like making. Like the guy who's been in the roster the last few years, but like he's been hurt enough that I feel like he could basically be like a new man if he actually is coming out and looking better than Pierce by a wide margin.
Yeah, and it's just, I think in general, it's safe to assume that most of these rookies are going to get off to slower starts as well. Yeah. It's very rare that, we see these guys, absolutely crush right out of the gate, even when they have high draft capital attached to them. So yeah, it's less of I'm out on Alec Pearson, more I just think Paris Campbell is one of the more intriguing late round wide receivers. It's generally like him and Hamler, as evidenced by my 27% Hamler exposure in BBM3, where it's just like, man, I think these guys are mispriced.
Yeah, no, I agree with that on Hamler. Hamler, I've said it a couple times, but he doesn't even get drafted on DraftKings sometimes. I noticed from
Really?
the 10 or so I've done. Yeah, like he's going 215 sometimes, and I've seen him, be available in the 20th.
Oh God, I think if I was playing on DraftKings, I'd end up with like 40% then.
Yeah, it's tough. Like DraftKings, I try to jump in sometimes, and it's always like, oh, you're 5 out of 12, and I don't have an hour to wait for a table to fill. So that's what's been killing me with DraftKings entries, because I don't think I'm going to fill it at this rate, because I still got to jam.
That's how long it takes to fill one.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes it'll take like 20 minutes for that room to fill, because people just aren't doing it yet on DraftKings, at least from what I'm saying.
Yeah, you need. It's like everyone in the in the Deposit Kingdom, we do have. If you go into the lobby, there's a roles channel. And if you react to the best baller role, then you can tag other people when you're trying to fill a draft. And I know people have been using that for different sites. So if you are in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, you get that role attached, then you can get notified when other people are trying to fill a draft. And the funniest is when the cardio club guys are trying to fill a draft, because they're like, I've been doing cardio for 15 minutes and I still haven't been able to get into a draft. Will someone please hop in this? People
are saying, when am I drafting? I'm just drafted whenever I have downtime, so there's no rhyme or reason to it. But yeah, like for me, the fill time for Underdog has been a lot faster. People are saying I might be wrong. Like I'm just telling you, I hop on and I'm like waiting, and I'm like, I don't want to wait forever, because the UI is also bad on DraftKings and I don't get notifications. So I might be more looking with a skeptical eye towards DraftKings, because of the overall experience being so much worse.
Just let Spags speak his truth, guys.
Yeah, look, I only know what I experienced. My limited sample size says that it's taken fucking forever to fill. And I get mad and I just slam my phone down like a caveman and go back to searching for Michael Turner shirtless.
Let's see. Should I? All right, Michael Turner shirtless. Let's see if the SEO.
Like Michael Turner 2022, I feel like he must have gotten big fat, because he was always teetering on being a bigger boy at running back.
Wow. Yeah, no, this is going to be, apparently there's a lot of male models that don't look like the Michael Turner we're looking for showing up. I now understand why this was so hard for you.
See, I'm telling you, people, you think it's easy to get any running back shirtless you want on demand, and that's just not what the internet gives you.
Real quick before we pick, I just want to laugh. This Instagram profile, the username is the official Michael Turner, and doesn't this definitely look like the Instagram page for the official Michael Turner?
So one jail headshot and a bunch of
yeah, I gotta put my jail headshot. Got locked up.
Yeah, that's what an esoteric thing to do. Like if you're impersonating Michael Turner with that that approach, it's not even like fun fan fiction at that point.
We are on the clock here. 15 seconds.
It's not on the camera, so I can't see it.
Oh, my bad.
Just follow your heart.
You want to grab Josh Palmer with a little correlation there with Henderson?
That works.
And then would be nice. Are you in on Darrell Williams? I still think I'm an Eno guy, but I don't hate him.
I like Darrell Williams. Yeah, I think he's the one now that would benefit if we did see James Conner get hurt.
All right, we can do Darrell, because I do think we could use a running back there.
Okay, I like that. I wish we'd gotten one Atlanta guy, but I love that Atlanta Arizona week 17.
The chat pointing out that the Moose took George Pickens. I mean, this Meadows guy, you can't trust him.
Well, now that I figured out the origin of his username, he's got nothing else to hide.
But going back to this Michael Turner guy, I mean, who thinks like he's searching around and he's like, what's my next great opportunity? He's just like, think about all of the follows that are going to roll in for a Michael Turner Instagram account. I can squat on this and then hold him over a barrel someday. Do you know what probably killed the wind in his sails for this account was he goes, I need to find a shirtless pic of this dude to put up here. He couldn't find one. Now he hasn't posted for 495 weeks. I think he just threw in the towel like you did.
Do you ever think about these random running backs and just go like, I wonder what they're doing right now? Like usually it's coaching, but sometimes it's like, oh, they're like in jail.
Oh, geez, Spags, that took a dark turn.
I mean, seeing the headshot or the mugshot reminded me that is the unfortunate reality of guys who are banging their heads against the wall over and over again for 10 years of their lives.
I mean, the first comment, this is the fact that he wrote the official Michael Turner first post got locked up. Here's my headshot. And then the first comment is by an Instagram thought, THOT. She goes, damn, why? Hashtag or 100 prayer emoji and flame emoji. Why?
What a tragic situation back in 2010. That's your fake profile is posting about now. He got arrested for something weird, though. I feel like he broke into somebody's house. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak. Don't sue me, Michael Turner. I've been a big fan for a long time.
Clearly.
Turner arrest, because that was like when he signed his big contract at some point. I gotta say, there's a lack of Michael Turner resources out there. Like, I can see why they made this Instagram page, because finally somebody needs to be the definitive truth about Michael Turner.
Yeah, there you guys go. If you're looking for opportunities out there, maybe michaelturner.eth if you're looking to squat on a domain name.
Michael Turner's NFL all day packs flying off the shelves. I've also never gotten more targeted for anything than the UFC strike packs. Like, I get emails about those every day, and I've unsubscribed I think 5 times, and they just keep hitting me over and over again.
It's I don't know. I'm trying to I think I get a lot of those emails too. All of those are such like white noise to me now, where it's like they could have like a really sick drop. They could be like, we are sending you, we are gonna DM you $5,000 cash. All you have to do is click this, and it could be legit, and I would just X out because I'm just like, I get too many of these promo emails.
It's always sad when it is legit. Those free $5,000 people are handing out.
Every once in a while you get one of those.
Also, why is Will saying breaking into a house is weird? Yeah, I think that's. I think when you're a millionaire running back, I think it's a weird move.
He's kidding, Spags. He's
I don't know. He could, maybe he lived in Alabama for a while. That could just be part of the culture.
Oh man, Ben Tate. That was the year people were drafting Ben Tate instead of Arian Foster, right? When Arian Foster busted out. Am I recalling that correctly? I think that
does ring a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are coming up on the 17-18 turn here. I don't want to, I mean, okay, look, I'll taunt the Moose here. If he wants to take Kendrick Bourne as his wide receiver 9, knock yourself out, brother. I dare you. Moose, I fucking dare you to take Kendrick Perkins.
Maybe this is your issue, is that you keep antagonizing these people until they do the things.
It's felt like a long day. So let's take Kendrick Bourne. Who else do you want?
We can get Mostert for the bring back.
You love your bring backs.
I do love a bring back.
No, we do. We need running backs. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I am pumping the brakes on my Raheem Mostert exposure in BBM3, but in Superflex Puppy, we're wide open, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to take Sony Michel and BBM3 at this point, but I still will continue to believe that Mostert, former head coach or former offensive coordinator of his, now the head coach, he sees Raheem Mostert, sees a man down on his luck, he finds great shirtless photos of him on Google, and he goes, this is the man I want leading my backfield, Raheem Mostert.
Holy shit. Stochastic Best Ball's official account is in the comments today?
I'm doing that show. That must be but Nick, who does some streams, Nick Lepre over there. But yeah, I'm doing their stream, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Just make sure you say, and thank you to Mr. Stoke for making this all possible.
Thanks to Big Stoke for helping me learn the biz as best I could. Alex Big Stoke Baker.
Oh my goodness.
Also, am I still doing ship chasing this week? Is that a thing we should plug?
Yeah, so
I got uninvited.
This is what happened. So I apparently did you do a Spike Week podcast last week?
Yeah, I did Best Ball Bros with Eric Bime for, which a fun hour and 15-minute conversation with nary a draft that went on.
Yeah. So Spags went on this podcast. I get a message from Karain on either Sunday or Monday, and he was like, hey, I was listening to the Spike Week, and Spag mentioned that it's kind of a bummer that the only times he gets invited on ship chasing are when there's 20 other dudes. And, it's hard for him to get off his, Josh Reynolds hot takes amid such a competitive, guest environment. And basically you were complaining to get a solo invite on the show. So Ben Gretsch is out of town this week. And I begrudgingly said we can continue Spags's best ball thought leader masturbatory parade with an invite on Ship Chasing this Wednesday.
Just desperate to hit 1,000 subscribers on the Splash Play channel. So if you have a stream with more than 10 subscribers, decent chance that I'll do it. But no, I wasn't complaining about it. It was just more like, it was talking about like buying for, like the only times I talked to buying for, like on those big streams. So that was the point. I also like that you're saying like somehow Corain is sending 1,000-word message. Like Corain has ever said anything that's not an NBC Sports Edge article of that length.
Let me find the exact message.
Spags is being a little bitch on
this is all right. These are the receipts. He goes, let's get Spags on next week. On Spike Week, he mentioned he only gets invited on Ship Chasing when it's like 20 guys laugh my ass off. It'd be fun to actually have him on as a proper guest. And then I said, LOL. And then I said, I sent him an invite in the only way I know how. And he said, on stream. And I said, no, just as a dick. I wrote, Corain said he heard you complaining on Spike Week about only getting blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So that's how the sausage gets made.
I'll take it. Look, the most influential show in best ball. I'm excited to siphon, really go directly after it. And the thing, Pete, every time I do a Ship Chasing show, I get one good takeout that helps carry me through the litany of other bad things I say over the course of that period of time.
Well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Wednesday to make sure you get one good takeout. And normally you do only get one takeout because that's all there's time for. You're going to theoretically have 90 minutes of takes. Do you think you're just going to abstain from saying anything except your one big take at the end of the show, or are you just going to spray and pray a bunch of takes?
Spray and pray a bunch of takes, and then really try to remind people of the one that does hit.
Yeah.
Like, remember that time I was on Ship Chasing with you guys? We got Gradger's out of town, and I got that one right, and I make it sound like that was all I was talking about for the entire period.
My favorite move in that vein right now that I see people do is when they bump their own tweets from like 3 months ago. Like maybe it will be like a trade rumor or something. And then it happens, or sometimes it'll be really innocuous. Like I think Stephon Diggs is going to get paid this offseason. Then he gets the contract and they bump it. See, told you, bro. It's like, yeah, man, really appreciate you showing me those receipts. I wasn't going to give you your kudos, but now that I saw that vague tweet sent amid hundreds of other tweets of wrong takes, now I'm impressed.
Also, we've had some, I think, new people popping into the chat, which is general fantasy football questions, Pete. And I always want to go out of my way to answer those, even though these people never stay on the channel. But Buck saying top 3 backs that have RB1 overall, not named JT: Lombardi, Lenny, Mixon, Barkley. Thoughts, fellas? First of all, seems a little biased having Lenny there number 1 when your username is Buck. But
Buck thinks Lombardi, Lenny should be in the number 1 overall running back conversation. I never would have seen this coming from old Buck.
I think Lombardi Lenny runs a real steep risk of fantasy football hating Rachaad White coming through. Take a lot of share there if Lenny's hamstring turns to the dust it normally does.
I will say I agree with Buck in that. Well, let's just make these picks here.
Okay.
We're at a 3-5-8-2. Probably what? One more running back, one more wide receiver.
Yeah, that works. We should get, well, yeah, no, never mind. We didn't take Jacksonville. It's all gross. I mean, I'll never have an issue with Zamir White.
I like Dearness Johnson just because there's been rumors about a trade out for him.
Okay.
That
you've been getting the Dearness Johnson drum. I'm not going to go against it.
And then what wide receiver do you want to take here?
Let's see. Do we have anything approaching a correlation? We could take.
Oh, you want a super stack? Mac Jones?
That works.
All right, let's do it. This is how we have fun. 3-6-9-2. 3-6-9.
Damn Superflex fine.
High five on that one, Spag. Okay. All right, so we got Russell Wilson, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, Saquon, CEH, Darrell Henderson, Darrell Williams, Raheem Mostert, Dearness Johnson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Sutton, Mooney, Patrick Parker, Palmer, Bourne, Thornton, and then Schultz and Freiermuth at tight end.
All right, so we're making a big bet on Mac Jones taking a leap this year, being allowed to throw in multiple games, which it's possible.
Easy says, why so many wide receivers when you can only start 2 at wide receiver and then 1 tight end at flex? Because wide receivers are better than running backs.
I would agree.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I actually don't think this balance is wrong though, by any means. And in general, I just think it's I think it's more likely, maybe not. I was going to try to make the case that maybe the wide receivers were higher probability bets this late in the draft. but they all seem like pretty low probability bets to me.
And we
I
still,
guess,
yeah, you got a lot of
oh, no, go
correlation
ahead.
with our wide receivers too. So I feel like that's part
Yeah.
of it to me.
But back to the Buck thing, I do really think that as the offseason goes on, that Leonard Fournette is going to move up and up rankings, especially when all the kind of season long providers start. Like when you do season long projections and you're going to go and do the projection for the Bucks backfield, and Fournette's going to just profile for a monster workload. And that doesn't mean I think he should be going there, but I just think that people are going to start ranking him. Like you can make a case, and obviously this is a super flex draft board, but I think you can make a case he should be in there in the Eckler, Harris, Derrick Henry range. And I would not be surprised to see him as a 1-2 turn pick come August whatsoever.
I mean, I just remember when I was doing my projections last year, just, to kind of have something to look at as a frame of reference, what I was, perceiving as important every week, that Lenny would keep popping up because he had such a big share of the rushing yards and the passing yards. And then you take Ronald Jones out and you put in Rashad White. And, if you're not projecting him for a lot, then I get it. I just, I don't know. The Bucks worry me overall. Like they're the one team, and I know I've gotten beaten up a little bit on social media by Bucks fans. Like all it takes is Tom Brady getting hit a few too many times, and that entire season goes to shit.
Yeah. And again, I think there's reasons why I think his ADP is probably more efficient right now, and with sharper people drafting. And I also get why that could change. I took him on Best Ball Breakfast this morning, and it was one of those things too, where it's like, if I'm going to pack any Leonard Fournette bags, like if I'm not drafting him now at the 2-3 turn, I'm certainly not drafting him at the 1-2 turn. So might as well get my shares now.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so there's another Superflex draft over on Underdog. Use a promo code SPLASH if you want to double your deposit up to $100 on there. Follow at Peter Overs, follow at Chris Spags, and follow at Splash Play Pod so you can see whenever we're going live with a new episode. Of course, Pete and I do the streams Monday, Thursday, 2:30. My solo streams are only on the Splash Play channel, so make sure you subscribe over there to get those on Friday afternoons. And then, Pete, what are the plugs for you coming up here? What's the fun and whimsy on the Deposit Kingdom and everywhere else for you?
Yeah, we booked just a massive guest for ship chasing on Wednesday. I mean, I hate to spoil it right now, but this is one of the biggest fish. My buddy Pat Corain just threw out the line and we reeled this guy in. I can't say who it is, but you guys are going to want to tune in Wednesday for ship chasing, Chris.
Probably somebody who's just carpetbagging their way through an industry after being in DFS. But no, I'm excited to do that one. I'll be on ship chasing this week with Pete and Corain. So tune into that one. And of course, subscribe to Pete's channel, see all the fun he's got going on at any given time. We'll see you guys on Thursday or on ship chasing. Enjoy your weeks. Bye.